Okay, so continuing the trend of updating you guys on what I've done to the car and what I plan to do with the car, I'm going to talk about the exhaust, more specifically the headers. You see, these are not turbo headers. These did not come with the turbo kit when I bought it. So I'll explain to you guys how this happened, and we'll talk about whether they work or not. So yeah, let's get into it. So first up, disclaimer, it's going to be noisy. There's a lot of traffic. It's like 5 in the afternoon, so yeah, well, evening I should say. These log manifold, as they're called, came from a 3800, just like this one, a GM 3.8 liter, this manifold, but it didn't came with the Camaro, which this car is, right? This is a Camaro. Also, this manifold is from a 3800, also not from a Camaro. These are strictly from the front wheel drive platform of the 3800. So what are they doing on the Camaro, which is essentially a rear wheel drive? As you can see, and there goes the big old turbo. Does it make boosts? Does it work? And how do you even begin to make it work? Luckily for you guys, I do have some pictures that I will show you basically what I had to do to get this one to fit. Let me take my finger out of the way. To fit. So I don't have any video or pictures of what I had to do to get this one to fit, but it's essentially the same thing that I did with this one. So I'll post some pictures, well, pop up in the video somewhere. You know how they do it. And then we'll talk about whether or not this thing actually works. I'm not a welder, so yeah, keep that in mind. So while I'm on the subject of these headers that came from the well, they're not headers. Well, it's a loud car going by. Technically they're not headers. These are log manifolds. Let's talk about why I had to change not one but two of them. And like I said, I got this as a whole kit, the hot side, from an eBay turbo kit that I bought. It came with two exhaust manifold, well, turbo manifold that goes into what is essentially a wide pipe here, connecting both banks to the turbo. Why did I have to change both of them? Whether was it the fact that I wrapped them with exhaust wrap, or whether it's the fact that the turbo was just putting too much stress on the exhaust manifolds. It could have been all of those things and more, but the bottom line is, the more I weld these things, it's the more they started to crack and break apart. And if you know, if you've been in the game, which is working on these cars for a while, you know that there's not much options when it comes to getting manifolds for these vehicles, especially ones that'll work with a turbo setup like this. But after a lot of research, And I haven't seen any cars, any 3800 Camaro with this setup. I haven't seen one on the internet. I haven't seen one anywhere. So this is essentially the first one. So this exhaust manifold, whether you have the engine turned this way in the front wheel drive platform, I believe this one would be on the front side of the engine, and this one would essentially be on the back side over there, and that would be the layout. I do not claim to be a welder, so this ain't a welding video. Yeah, this is messy. But if it works, it works. I'm gonna make notches here, over there. Just use washers when you put the bolts on. That shit is so messy. It gets everywhere. That's what we're looking like. Turbo's not on it right now. So just a disclaimer, I'm not saying the manifolds that came with the turbo kit, I'm not saying they don't work, because they do work. They did work, but in my case they did not last as long as I would have liked them to, and that's why I had to find a solution, which is essentially these manifolds. Right? I'm not saying they don't work. I don't want anyone sending me emails saying I'm bashing their product or lack thereof. So I just want to set the record straight. And with that said, I'm gonna cut this video right here because it's getting quite long already, and I'm not really into the thing of doing long videos because I'm no YouTuber. So I'll just cut it here. If you guys have any questions, you can always leave a comment. I'll be more than happy to help you guys figure out a solution for your build, because we're essentially a big family when it comes to doing these things, you know. Working on cars is a hobby for me. It might be for you, you know, maybe not, but hey, it's a hobby regardless. So if you have questions, drop a comment and I'll do my best to respond.